Hello everyone, my name is Leisha Jackson from FM Systems, and I want to thank you for attending today's webinar, New Features of FM Interact 8.5. We are really excited about the new capabilities that are being released and wanted to showcase these features for you today. Before we begin, I want to cover a few housekeeping items. At the bottom of your console, there are multiple widgets you can use. If you have any questions during the webinar, you can click on the Q&A widget at the bottom and submit your question. We'll answer these at the end, but if we don't get to all of the questions, we will follow up with you after the webinar is over. You can expand your slide area by clicking on the Maximize icon on the top right-hand corner or by dragging the bottom right-hand corner of the slide area. An on-demand version will be available about 1 hour after the webinar ends and can be accessed using the same audience link that was sent to you earlier. Today on the line, we have Paul Wright, our Manager of Product Management, who will be talking about and demonstrating the new features of FM Interact 8.5. With that being said, Paul, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Leisha. As Leisha mentioned, I'm Paul Wright, over Product Management at FM Systems, and we've been working very hard on version 8.5, and we're pretty excited about it. We're set to release it very soon. And today I wanted to go over the key features of the new version. First, we'll take a look at some of the look and feel enhancements, the UI enhancements that we've put into this version, some of the enhanced floor plan capabilities, our new FMX reporting, and then also the Space Reservation app for users of space reservation. So we'll start with the new user interface. When looking at this version, we went back and sort of went through our older versions and realized that we hadn't really changed the user interface of FM Interact in about 15 years. So it seemed high time to modernize it, make it a little bit easier to use, and icon-driven. So we have streamlined the navigation as well as the ability to change the type of navigation that you're using. It's now icon-driven with the ability to change the background colors using style sheets. And it increases screen real estate by allowing you to slide in the menu tree when you're not using it. Additionally, we have favorites, the ability to mark specific views or floor plans in the system as favorites so that you can easily access them without having to drill too far down. This is an example of the top-down navigation. So there are two main options, side on the left and then top drill down from the header bar. Now I'm going to switch over to my demo site. Just bear with me for a second. I can do that. Okay, you should be seeing my screen. And one of the things that we've added in this version is an option to pop up the sign-in login information screen right away as soon as you hit the site. This is if you're using an internal or mixed mode authentication and you have to log into the system. Instead of having to find the sign-in button, click on it, it'll pop it up as soon as you come into the site. I'm going to go ahead and log in. You'll see that my administrator account has the left side navigation. Each module is split up by an icon, with the first icon being the home. This returns you always back to your home page, whatever you've designated that for your role. Second is favorites, and favorites are any favorites that you have marked for the modules you have permission to see. So this top level favorites is divided out by module. You see space management, move management, facility maintenance, and system administration under here. So a number of different favorites. And from here you can either choose to turn off the favorites to remove them, or you can add additional ones by going to other modules. When you click on the module, you'll see that the nav tree is still here in spirit. We have accordion-style drop-downs. So for space management, we've got sites, views, reports, documents, and a few other options. The favorites that you selected will show up, and that's what is expanded initially, so you can really get to where you need to go in 2 clicks. If you need to drill down farther, you can click the menu to either hide or show, and then continue to drill down. And you can either use the plus or minus, or you can click on the site and building to actually access those home pages for the sites and buildings. As an administrator, I have the ability to choose in my settings whether or not users have the option to change their navigation, if they want to go from left hand to top, or I can restrict that so that it's only available to the administrator to do. If it is available, you'll see at the top there are 2 icons now. There's a little person icon, which signifies you, the person that you're logged in as, including your sign-out capability, the ability to change password, and then for support, some of the information about your user and role in the system. The gear icon shows some more user preferences. Many of these are permissionable, which means they can be turned on and off by the administrator. User preferences is key. That's where you go in to, if you have permission, change your navigation layout, change your theme, enable alternating grid row colors, currency type, etc. So if I wish to change the top, small, medium, or small with text, and large top are available. And doing that is as simple as clicking the navigation layout and saving. Then that moves that navigation to the top. The top's a little bit different in that it doesn't pop out the menu tree. What it does is it drops down. So when you click on a module, you'll see a sub-menu for the module information. For space management, we have sites, views, reports, etc. For other modules, you've got views, reports, documents, and favorites. And when you click on a specific one, it will drop down the menu to allow you to access the particular view that you're looking for. Then it goes away, and you can continue with your work. The only difference here is with system administration. Since we have so many nested layers in system administration, that will always come up as a side menu that will, you can either lock or hide, but it will show up on the left side for system admin. Another thing to note was that alternating grid rows. Each grid row has an alternating color here of a light gray, just to delineate, and that's CSS driven. You can change what that color is. For my administrator, I prefer the left-hand navigation. Let me pop that back. And again, the background colors here are all configurable. We have separate CSS files for these specifically so that you can make changes and not have them overwritten at a later time. So let's go back. Let me go back to our presentation. Along with the UI changes, we have a number of changes with the FMX5 viewer. The FMX5 viewer is our HTML5-based floor plan viewer. What that does for us is it allows us to have high-fidelity floor plans without a plugin. The only thing it requires is a modern browser, and at this point, all supported browsers have the HTML5 capability. Microsoft now only supports IE11 and Edge, both of which we support, and then also Safari, Chrome, and Firefox. It works both in FM Interact and FM Mobile, so it allows us to publish one file type and have it access across both products. It allows us to quickly load large, complex drawings and access floor plans with greater speed. It also allows us to create and add new tasks to the floor plan via the right-click, selection tools, etc. And we'll go through some of those in a minute. Some of the things that we have been adding over the past year included drag and drop for immediate room assignments and moves, ad hoc graphic theming, the ability to open up my graphic view queries and turn on and off elements right away, and then also export those out to a PDF file and include things like the scale bar, configurable floor detail block, change the units of measure, change the legend. And also with our most recent versions, we've improved the line weight control with FMX5 so that when you publish using 842 or later, we honor the 0 line weight from a floor plan so that when you are zoomed out, you see the bold lines for the drawing, and then when you zoom in, it maintains that fidelity. For drag and drop, this has been in the product for a while, but it's something that we like to bring up continually as it is a very powerful feature. It's permissionable, which means you don't have to have it assigned immediately, but it allows users to drag and drop occupants from one space to another, or to create planned moves for those occupants. And really, if you don't have move management, then you can do the immediate assignment. You can multi-select people or select individual people, drag them onto the assigned palette. And if you do have move management, then you can select those people and create the initial move ticket for those occupants. Next, we have graphic themes. And graphic themes allow users to selectively enable and disable one or more graphical elements that you have defined for the graphic view, and then save those and create your own themes that are personal to you, and those can be promoted if you're an administrator. It works with AutoCAD or Revit, and it is supported in FMX5 only. That's the platform that we are using going forward to maintain and make updates to. You can also include data views in the floor detail section and the info block, the floor details block as well. Let's take a look at a few of those items. Jump back to FM Interact. Let me go back to my home screen. And I've got favorites here. I just marked a couple of floor plans so I can just go right into space management, click my floor plan, and bring that up. You can see that my menu has been set to hidden, so all I see are my icons. If I wanted to, I could even hide that navigation. If I've got permission, I can go to the gear icon and click Hide Navigation. Give me a little bit more screen real estate, but I'm not too worried about that. In my floor plan, I've got a number of options at the top. I can change my building right from here if I want to. I've got my graphic views, but I also now have graphic themes, and the graphic themes include all those elements that I have created specific to a graphic. And in this example, I've got a conference room graphic theme that includes conference rooms. It includes the floor detail block underneath. And then it also includes a data view that is filtered to conference rooms. So I can really quickly see more information about those highlighted rooms. My menu to actually modify these graphic themes is right next to the drop-down. It's called Multi-Select Graphic Theming. And this pops up all of the permission views and other elements that my role has permission to see. And in here, I can drill down to my queries, I can drill down to annotations, and I can turn things on and off right from the floor plan. And if I want to, I can save that. So I can save as a new custom theme or overwrite the existing. I can add additional queries to my theme, so vacant and reserved, so I can create sort of a multi-query graphic view. If I want to turn annotations on and off, the same type of situation. Looks like I have 2 annotations for that. So if you see something, you've got duplicate annotations on a particular view, you can enable those, disable those, and then save that. You can also enable and enable and disable layers. So the layers that are published to the drawing, you can choose to enable and disable right from the theme window as well. Additionally, down at the bottom, we have some view settings. So we've got legend, we've got scale bar, floor details, and data view. Scale bar is an actual to-scale measurement of the space, so we can see what, in this particular case, accounts for 60 feet. If I want to, I can also change the units. I can change the units that are being calculated. Additionally, I can choose to move the legend, floor details as well. Soon we'll have the ability to move the scale bar. That's coming in a future release. But for now, you have the option to move these particular elements around the floor plan so that you can place them specifically for the floor that you've selected, or a selection of floors. You can enable and disable, or you can set it as the default for all of your floors. The data view, as I mentioned, is a selected view from our system. The views that you have access to are selectable here. And I created a filtered view of conference rooms for this. If you're using an A0-based or room information-based view, then it will filter the view based upon the floor that you have selected. You can also choose to include some things for the export, such as the sum of area, whatever's in the view, include count for specific items in the data view, or include average if you've got other numeric values that you want to select. A couple other things to note. We also, I don't have it in this particular demo set, but we have the ability now to do thematic hatch. A thematic hatch is when you want to hatch a bunch of different queries at once without having to create them. So, for example, this is a departmental hatch for a particular org level. You can create a specific org level hatch. Or something like job definition. So if you've got a job definition table and you want to hatch the spaces based upon the occupant's job definition, you can do that as well. Once you've finished with your theme, you can save it and then export it. Now you don't have to save the theme to export. At this, with version 8.4.2 and later, you can actually open up and change some things and then run your export immediately, and it will export out what's on the screen. But if you want to, you can actually select your saved query and then at that point run your export as well. In the export dialog, we have the ability to turn the file, set the file name, select the floors that we want to publish the vacancy query on, and then the page size, margin size, and font. In future versions, we will have the ability to schedule these as well, so that's something that we're currently working on, the ability to save those reports and then schedule them for publish at a later time. For drag and drop, again, if you have permission, you'll see the Assign Room icon at the top. An immediate Assign Room immediately makes that change. So you can drag a person over to this panel if you want to get them off the floor completely. If you want to move them to another space on the floor, you just can drag them. You'll get warnings if there's something going on with that room, but it'll allow you to actually drop that person, and then when you save, it commits the change to the system and updates immediately. If you want to actually do a move, you can either do it from this panel by selecting at the top, opening a move project, searching for people, and creating a move ticket, or you can select, and you can multi-select by using the control click or a window. When you've selected the particular rooms that you want to have moves for, right-click, and if you've got permission and move management, you can either add those to a move project or create individual moves not assigned to a specific project. In the initial version, this simply creates the move ticket. So it creates the move ticket, including the to and the from information that you've selected if you've chosen to move that person to a room. And then from there, you go to move management and add any other information regarding that move ticket. This will send out the move email so that a move has been created for a particular user. And it's really just a matter of dragging them from the panel to the floor plan. And you have the ability to change your floor plan. So if you're moving somebody from one floor to another, you just select the floor, and then the Assign Room dialog will continue to be on the page, allow you to drag and drop the people onto the new floor. So really powerful, and the FMX5 capabilities are allowing us to continually enhance this information. One other thing to note, you could see the lines in this particular drawing. When it's zoomed to extents, it's they're very bold, easy to see. And then as you zoom in, you can see that the wall lines continue to stay small. All right, let's move along. Back to presentation. Let's talk a little bit about HTML5 mapping. Mapping is a way to place your buildings on a map using the geolocation coordinates for that particular building, so that you can easily see the building portfolio as well as drill into the buildings. We've had this capability for a while, but it was in Silverlight. Since modern browsers are no longer supporting Silverlight, we've moved it over to HTML5. That means that we don't have to have a plugin. It allows us to continually enhance the configurability of the mapping. It allows us to support multiple providers and improve the user interface. Let's take a look at that. Go back to my site. Let's go. If you want to get to a home page without opening the menu, you just double-click. So I just double-clicked on Space Management. That brings up my home page for Space Management, which is a map of the U.S. And you can see individual buildings. But if you've got a group of buildings that are within a particular range of each other, you now have a cluster. So the cluster allows you, let me go back. The cluster allows you to group the buildings and show summary information about the buildings that are within that area. And in a second, I'll show you the configurability of this in the FM settings. We have the option to display floor picture or building pictures, as well as a link to drill in to the building page, and the ability to continue to drill into a cluster to see the information about a particular building. The size of the circle here indicates a specific sum of information, and it can be either your area information, your total occupancy, and a couple others. Let me jump over to our settings for this. These are under FM settings in System Administration, called Map Settings. And inside Map Settings, we have a few options. The Cluster Tooltip text is what shows up when you've got that cluster of buildings. You can choose which information that you want to see. Right now, it's available seats, so vacancies, some of occupancy, some of areas. You can show number of zones, some of capacity, average area, etc. You can set the map building page location, so what page is accessed when you click that Go to Building link. You can also format the tooltip for individual buildings to pull information out of the building's data table. And so this is configurable by entering in the field name. You can change the bubble color. Some other things like bubble shape and size, the data source, again, rentable, usable area, occupancy, etc. You can set the default map view. So if most of your buildings are in North America, you can set the map view to be specific to North America when users enter the map. That's something that we're looking to enhance in future versions to include multiple map views for different users. The map provider, we have the options for OpenStreetMap, MapQuest, and Bing. Bing does require an API key. That's something that you obtain from Microsoft. You have the ability to show the bubbles or markers or turn them off, the size of that image that's in the tooltip, and then also an overlay. And an overlay is a KML or JSON file that overlays the top of the map to include additional graphics related to the map. And it could be heat map, it could be county borders, it could be state borders, etc. When you make these changes, they're applied immediately. So I'll hit save and then go back. You can see that my map is now changed to a topographic. My circles are now orange. So with the overlay, you could drop in state borders on top of this map, is the idea behind that. So again, a relatively new feature and something that we're going to be consistently updating as well in the future. Go back to okay, let's talk about reporting. reporting in FM Interact continues to support SSRS reports, which is what the vast majority of our customers use. So your existing reports will continue to be supported. You continue to create them. But what FMX reporting allows us to do is have embedded reporting within FM Interact that does not require the user to have a separate reporting tool to go out, a separate reporting server for SSRS. It allows the user to create personal reports. It allows a wizard-driven experience, so you can create your own reports using drag and drop. It allows us to highly secure the reporting, so permissioning what data a user has the ability to report off of. Drill downs and scheduling service, so scheduling those reports out either to a hard copy in a file directory or to the database on a scheduled basis. So let's take a look at some of the capabilities. And we're developing training specifically for reporting as well, so we'll be talking a little bit more about that coming up. So in my system, I now have within a particular module reports, report management. And when you click on reports, you now see two sections. There are my reports and then global reports. Global reports are the existing reports that are SSRS, and then also any FMX reports that have been promoted by an administrator role to be available to any user. My reports are reports that I've created that only I see and only an administrator can access as well. And actually running a report is as simple as clicking on it, and it will generate that report. And there are a number of powerful tools within this as well. So let me go into report management. At the top, you see my reports. So those are the reports that I've created that are specific to a user. Global reports, those are the existing SSRS that you can now run right from this report management page, or FMX Exago reports that have been promoted to global. If you're an administrator, you can see some additional things at the top, including a promote. Promote allows you to take a personal report and then promote it to global so that it can be permissioned. Managing your schedules, those are the scheduled reports when they're actually created. And then changing a user. Changing a user allows me to see a selection of users that have created reports already. So this is a filtered select list, any users of the system that have created FMX reports. As an administrator, I can come in here and view that user's reports really quickly so that I can help them troubleshoot if there's something wrong with it. I can promote those if they've created a really good report that we need to now get out to everyone. If I need to get back to my own reports, I just remove that user. Then adding a report. When I add a report, I have a new report type of FMX. I still have my existing SQL and Crystal options. If you're familiar with our reporting, then you know that creating a report here from SSRS is just creating the header record. So you still have to link it to an SSRS report that's been created somewhere else. But with FMX reports, we're going to open the designer right from the report management tool. I've got three options for report type. These are three different wizards for creating reports. Express report is for a really quick, easy report, usually tabular. Standard report has a lot more powerful functionality, including charts and graphs. And then a crosstab report for creating cross tabs. When I go into a particular report designer, I just create my report and then click Open Designer. This will open our report designer, and it's going to be scoped to the module that I'm in. So right now is in Space Management. So under Categories, I'm going to see the tables that I have permission to see in Space Management. In a few minutes, I'll show you how we permission those. But right now, we have the ability to limit what our user role is able to report off of. Since I'm in Space Management, I see all my Space Management tables. And to begin creating a report, I just find the tables that I want to report off of, click them, and then drag them over. And you see as I add report tables to my list, certain report tables get grayed out. What that means is that our data dictionary relationships are being honored when we create these reports. So I'm not able to create a report that makes no sense connecting A0 to some other table that is not related to A0. You can choose to suppress duplicates if you've got duplicate data. The sorts are how the report is going to be sorted. And you can choose any number of sorts. As I'm going through, I'm just clicking Next to get to the next filter. Filters in or out data that you want or don't want to see. So in this example, just do, if I don't want to see my leftover space, I can just create a filter to filter out XX from my room ID, and I can have additional filters that are grouped with and or. Once I've created my initial layout or my initial report definition, I will now create my layout. And the layout is, again, dragging and dropping fields. And as I drag and drop fields, I can see at the bottom there is a preview that shows really quickly what the report is starting to look like. I'm just dragging and dropping particular fields. I can include items like page header, page footer, grand total. When I've created my basic report, then I click Finish, and that's going to bring me to my report designer. My report designer is where I can really format my report how I would like to see it. So you have the ability to change your title. It's almost an Excel-like interface. So different cells have different options. I can insert additional columns with additional fields. I can choose to hide a column if I don't want to see it, sort them. I can change the format. So if I've got a field that's got a lot of numeric, like Excel, I can make sure that that's seen as a text field. I can also change the headers, changing the font size, the color, background color. Here's also where I add charts and graphs. So you can add gauges, charts, etc. If I need to get back at any point, or if I need to save, I just click this little Save Report. That will save my existing report changes. If I need to get back at any point, if I figure one of the categories I've selected is not correct, or one of the sorts I want to add some sorts, then I click this little gear icon, and that will bring me back to the information. Under Advanced, for advanced users, you can see the joins that have been created. And if at any time an administrator has gone in and changed data relationships within a table, and you've got reports that have already been created, then you can just come into the report, open this joins, and click Recreate. and it will calculate the joins and update the report. If at any time you want to see what the report looks like, you can click the play button and it will generate the report. And from there you can go back and forth and continue to format and add items to the report. Let me jump over to another report to show some graphics. Here I've got closed tickets, total hours, and average hours. So I've got two graphs, and they're interactive, so I can actually click particular items on my legend, and it will split out those items. I can rotate, so I can show a particular side. I can change the style if I don't want 3D graphics, if I want just straight. And I could do a lot of that as an end user by right-clicking. So I can just right-click my chart, and I can change the chart type, and right away it will update the chart type. I can choose to use 3D style or flat, different types of pie charts. I can choose to change where the legend location is, the sort, so how the report is sorting. So really pretty cool, the options that we have available. And again, that's done all in the report designer right from FM Interact. So I can just hop in my report management tool. If I want to see something or change something, I can go to my report, click Edit, open the designer right from report management, and that will pop open the report. I can change things like the hide or show the data that's in the report. Right now I'm hiding all the data that's behind the chart. I can click into the chart itself and open the chart wizard and change the default type of chart. I can change the data format if I've got a one-to-many relationship, if I got many-to-many, one-to-one. I can choose the data values that are being used for the chart. Typically it's going to be a sum or aggregate value. Some of the appearance, use different types of colors, use a 3D style, chart total hours label, the point labels, and then the size and the preview, allowing me to change what this looks like on the page. I can reduce or make larger the height and the width of that chart on the page. And then that will update in real time. You can save it, and it will save it to that report. And that report will then be updated. So really powerful. And one of the things that is, I think, really cool from an administrator standpoint is the ability to secure those tables. So now under Manage System Administration, Permissions, Manage Security, we now have a Report Tables option. And the Report Tables allows me to permission the tables for my report to specific users. So if I've got certain tables that should only be accessed by the finance group, you can modify this to prevent other roles from accessing them. I also have the ability to turn on and off fields that I know are not going to be reported on. So if there are certain things that I know that nobody's going to report on and are just going to confuse them, I can come in here, manage my table, and just turn those fields off. They're going to no longer be available in the report wizard. In a future version, we'll add security to this to allow it to be role-driven. But right now, it's just an on or off for the table. Additionally, you have the ability to add tables. So let's say you've got some customized tables or you've got pseudo tables in the system that you want to report off of. Now all you need to do is click Add Table. What shows up here initially is our initial report models for each module. So the tables that are traditionally seen in space management or facility maintenance or move. But if you've got custom tables or pseudo tables, you can add them to a particular module so that they can be reported off of. For example, if you want to report off of your error logging, you can add your pseudo table. And at that point, you can now see your pseudo tables. You can add the roles that have access to that, and then in space management, those roles will be able to report off of that table. So much more powerful security than we've ever had in the past, and I'm pretty excited to see what people will do with it. There's a lot more to reporting. We're going to have another reporting webinar in a few weeks that's specific to FMX reporting. But the last thing I wanted to sort of go over was the scheduling. So now we have the ability to schedule a report. And in scheduling, I have the option to choose when a particular report is going to be executed and how that report's going to look. So the report type can be Excel, PDF, RTF, or CSV. You can choose to execute it immediately, or you can recur. So you can choose a scheduled time and date. Let's say you've got a really, really heavy report that you don't want to impact the system performance. You can schedule it at 3 a.m., and you can choose additionally who's going to receive that report. So in terms of email, what the recipients are of that report. And then any filters that are specific, the information that's displayed in the report, you can further filter it using the schedule tool. When you've done scheduling, if you have permission, again, a permissionable item, you can manage the schedules, and those will show you any and all schedules that have been set up for a particular report. One of the other features we have with this is Blackout Times. So if there are specific times where you are running imports into the system, you don't want the server traffic to be maxed out, you can set up blackout time so that the report that's scheduled will run immediately after that particular time period. We also have the ability to scan to make sure that any user that has left the system that may have scheduled reports, we don't keep running those reports ad nauseum. Our engine will check to make sure that that user is in the system and should still be receiving reports. So again, right from Interact, we can make these changes and really quickly set up a lot of reports to run. And that was just a really quick overview. Again, there's a lot there. It's really powerful, and we'll be continuing to give out that information via training and webinars. Okay. So the final thing is our Space Reservation App, and the Space Reservation App is currently available. Just wanted to give a quick overview of this. Because it is a pretty cool feature for those users that are not in the office or on the corporate network that want to be able to schedule rooms or hoteling space for their use. It's supported in both Android and Apple, and it's currently on the App Store. It does require the space reservation module. So if you have space reservation, then you can use this app. Allows you to reserve the meeting rooms or hoteling space, and it's built specifically for this. So it is not just a website, it is an actual app that we can continue to update in the particular app stores. So just wanted to walk through what this looks like. We have both hoteling and room scheduling. If you only have one set up, then you can limit that to just the hoteling or room scheduling. To reserve a space, you start out by creating your reservation and then look for a particular space using the location and time filters. It's connected to the database, so it has the ability to see what's currently available in the system. You can further filter your reservations based on other criteria, such as capacity and type of space. The results will allow you to then look and see what's available and make a selection. You can choose your different layouts, amenities, and equipment that are included in that particular room. Then it creates your reservation and puts it on your upcoming reservation screen. For hoteling, it's a very similar process. You create your particular reservation and then find your room based on your date and time and location. And again, the ability to choose the duration of that particular meeting. In this case, we're going to select all day. See a number of different rooms, again, scope to hoteling this time. And then when you reserve the space, it will create that reservation. If you've got the Exchange monitor set up, then it will sync up with Microsoft Exchange to make sure that your Outlook and database and app are all in sync. Again, this is an app that we are pretty excited about but are continuing to look for feedback on. So if you've got space reservation, we encourage you to use it. One of the things that we're looking at in the future is the floor plans in the app, and that's something that we are currently looking into. Availability. When is 8.5 going to be ready? Well, the target release is at the end of this month or early July. We are in beta right now internally, and we are very shortly this week going to go beta with partners and targeted customers. If that's something that you're interested in, definitely let us know. The Space Reservation app is currently in the App Store. It does require that space reservation license, but it is available now. And then again, we want your feedback. You can email me directly at pwright@fmsystems.com and or email productmanagement@fmsystems.com. And with that, I'm finished, and I can take any questions. If you've got the Q&A section at the bottom, you can take a look and ask any questions there. I've got a few to start. Is there functionality to measure the area of spaces in maps in FMS, like the Autodesk viewer used to do? Your users miss that functionality, and a lot of other people do too. It's definitely something that we hear often, and it is on our roadmap. I don't know that it will be this year, but we're looking at least 2017 to begin doing both measure and markup on our FMX viewer platform. So that's something that we know a lot of users want, that it's a gap. I don't think many people offer that, and it is on our roadmap. Does the reservation module have a check-in, check-out function for hoteling spaces? Again, on our roadmap, actually for later this year, we are planning on having check-in and check-out for hoteling and room scheduling. And so look for that probably Q4 at this point. In the report designer, can we perform calculations in the field that the report will produce? Yes, you can. That's something that I didn't show, but when you get to the design level, you can add functions and calculations to a particular field. It allows you to use SQL syntax to create particular functions, as well as consultants and partners can create back-end functions that you can then call in the report. Are there plans to improve dashboards? Yes, there are. Again, on the roadmap, one of the great things about the reporting solution that we're using is that it also includes a robust dashboard feature. It's not in the system yet. We wanted to get reporting out there first, but next up we'll be looking at dashboards. That will be after we improve. We're working on removing Silverlight from the system, and there are a couple places where it exists currently, and one of those is dashboards. So we're looking to replace Silverlight and dashboards with HTML5 and use our FMX reporting tool in conjunction with that, so that the dashboards have a lot more flexibility. Can you set up groups of buildings as a favorite, or is it only for individual buildings? At this point, the favorites are at the floor plan level. So based on the performance, we have set favorites to only at the base level of a navigation item. So for floor plans, it is at the floor plan level. But it's not a bad idea. That's something that I can look into as a future enhancement. We just have a few more minutes if anybody else has some questions. Will we be offering 8.5 space management, move management training on-site or through distance learning? That's not my area. Unfortunately, I don't have the answer to that right now. It's something that I can check with our training group, which is under consulting. I believe they do have plans. I don't know whether it's distance learning or on-site. So that's something that I will check with.
Well, I can tag on to that question as well. I do know that they're in the works of creating training materials right now for the FMX reporting. So we will have distance learning lab courses on the training, or on the new reporting. I'm not sure about training on 8.5 in general. I know we had a class at the user conference, so we do have those manuals created, and I know we're going to be posting new training classes over the next month. So we'll get back to you, Stephen, and let you know.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that when we're talking about 8.5, your core functionality is unchanged. So your data views as you're used to them, your SSRS reports as you're used to them, are not changing. They're still there. How you utilize move management, space management are all the same. It's really just that front navigation. And at the very least, we'll be offering training videos on how to walk through that. Let's see. Can the 8.5 report feature perform multiple joins to display information? Yes, it can. Again, you can create a report with multiple categories. It takes the joins that are in the table relations for the tables. So you need to create the table relationships. And if you have concatenated relationships, that's also something that it supports. So let's say you want to have a report on people in the spaces they sit. Some of our tables have a combined concatenated key, such as building code plus room ID, and those joins are also honored. Is there any way to batch PDF multiple floor plans with the same query? Yes. Right now, you can do that on demand. So one of the things I showed was when you go to the Export to PDF page, there is a floor selection tool. So you create your query, you go to Export to PDF, and then you choose the floors that you want to have exported out. And all those floors will be printed one after the other, with that query. One of the features that we're working on that will probably be in a service pack to 8.5 later this year is scheduling those exports. So being able to schedule a particular graphic report, for an offline time, time that you're not in the office, and have the ability at that point to choose whether that report will be created one PDF per floor or building or site, or have just one large PDF. So that's coming. But for right now, you have the ability to select multiple floors for the same query and have them printed. Will reports have the option to collapse or expand data within groups? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that at the moment. With the collapsible tool, I'll have to look into that. So, Leisha, if you could mark that one as.
Okay, I will. All right, well, it looks like we're right on the hour. So we'll just stay on line for another minute in case any more questions come through. But like Paul said, if you think of any questions, you can email him directly. His information is up on the screen right now, or you can email me and we'd be happy to find an answer for you. The webinar will be on demand 1 hour after the webinar ends, so about 4 o'clock today. You can click on the same link you used to access the webinar today. And will also be sending out an email tomorrow with some resources as well as the recorded webinar that you can forward along to your colleagues if you would like. So I appreciate everyone's time for taking some time out of your day to attend the webinar. I hope you found it beneficial, and thank you to Paul for putting on this great presentation as well. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much.